You're listening to the Life with Old Dogs podcast, and I'm your host, Dawn Memnaugh, primary caretaker of all of our wonderful senior German Shepherds right here at Woody's Place Senior German Shepherd Sanctuary. Hey there, folks. This week's episode is being sponsored by The Shepherd Shop. The Shepherd Shop sells German Shepherd and dog-related merchandise, as well as our one-of-a-kind Woody's Place merchandise, with proceeds supporting Woody's Place Senior German Shepherd Sanctuary. So to check out The Shepherd Shop and support the sanctuary, head on over to www.wpsgss.org/Shepherd Shop. That's SHEPHERDSHOPPE. And now, back to our episode. Hey there, welcome back to the last episode of Season 8. During this season, I had a few wonderful folks on who run their own rescue or sanctuary, and they told you all about what what it's really like, what it really takes, what an average day looks like for them. And I was just so blessed to be able to speak with each and every one of them and get their message out as well as to what they're doing and what population they are helping. So the reason I decided to do this topic behind the scenes of sanctuary life and rescue is because I've mentioned it before. I do get questions about how do you start? What does it take? I would love to do something like that. I want to do something like that. And each guest that I spoke to has said the same thing. So obviously there's folks out there who are interested in helping homeless animals in some way, whether it be through volunteering or creating their own organization. So something I wanted to dispel, and I don't want to say this was my major goal this season, but more and more, and I do understand why, but more and more I am seeing on social media, particularly Instagram, where I follow other organizations who are rescues or sanctuaries, and everything is picture perfect. Everything is picture perfect. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, how do they do that? Like, I know what it's like. I've been doing Woody's Place, officially since 2011, unofficially since 2007. Like, that's a lot of time. And I know it's not perfect. It's never perfect, and it's never going to be perfect. So I don't understand, how is every photo, how is every video so like romanticized and, all like sunshine, butterflies, and rainbows. And I'm kind of a little ticked off about that because I understand why they do it, for clicks and views, and also to monetize their channel, their income, their Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Thread, what have you. I totally get that, but I'm very real. I'm very real. What you see is what you get. I can't pretend to be somebody else, and I'm not into brushing stuff under the rug, and I'm totally not into polishing our social media channels just to get clicks and views and likes and more income that way. I want folks to really know what is happening, the good, the bad, the ugly, because I believe that's how we should be portraying ourselves. I don't think everybody has to know every little detail, but for the most, I would like for people who support Woody's Place, for people who are curious about Woody's Place, to know what is happening here, what is actually going on, and that things are not perfect. And I especially think that's important for people who look up to organizations like a sanctuary or rescue, because they want to do the same thing. We always need more folks stepping up to help the homeless animal population, whether it's dogs, cats, horses, guinea pigs, whatever. There's always people dumping dogs. There's always people dumping cats. There's always animals just walking around because they got dumped somewhere. So we always need more folks to help, but I'm a firm believer in setting a good example. And there's nothing wrong with, putting up a pretty picture or a fun video or something like that. There's nothing wrong with that. But when everyone is like that, or just about everyone is like that, I've got a problem. I've got a real problem with that because it's not factual. And like I said, I'm just big on that. So I talked with some wonderful folks. We spoke with the folks from Finger Lakes German Shepherd Rescue, Anna Malay Sanctuary, Marty Senior Dog Sanctuary, and Pepper Senior Dog Sanctuary. And you can hear those episodes on your favorite podcast platform or at our website, wpsgss.org/podcast. They're all on there. And that's season 8. So I'm going to touch base on some of the things that I asked the guests that were on. Sorry, I have a bunch of notes in front of me, but I'm basically going to interview myself and answer the questions as well, just like I had my guests do. So you know who I am already. I'm Dawn Mimnaugh. I'm the founder and primary caretaker of Woody's Place Senior German Shepherd Sanctuary. Our mission is to provide top quality, lifelong care for abandoned German Shepherds 8 years and older. So our catchphrase is, we are that place in the country where old dogs come to retire, because we're in the country. It's rural. We're in the Pocono Mountains of Pennsylvania. We are in the lake region of the Poconos. I always like to make that known because there's like 5 different regions of the Poconos. Some are more touristy than others. Some are more agricultural. We're kind of like, it's sort of touristy in the summer, but it's mostly agricultural here. So maybe like not the most popular part of the Poconos. But anyway, I founded Woody's Place Senior German Shepherd Sanctuary, officially became a 501c3 in 2011, unofficially in 2007, because that's when Woody came into my life. And then I started just focusing on older homeless German Shepherds after him. So that's the animal, the population we serve. Now, sometimes we do get other dogs that are seniors here in our care. I mean, we've had an elk hound, we've had, some mixes, shepherd husky mixes, things of that nature. We have a lot of cats here. So anybody who knows me knows that I am an agricultural girl, a farm girl, and we have our own farm animals here. So we also have cats walking around that have been rescued in one way or another, whether they were feral cats here on the property, our local feed mill. There's always kittens up there that need homes. EPA spay neuter clinic, we've helped out there from time to time, and we've taken some cats from there, and now they also call Woody's Place home. So that's pretty much the population that we serve. And how they find their way to us is we do take owner surrender. I'm not like a huge fan of taking owner surrender, but we have in the past. I say I'm not a huge fan of taking owner surrender because we've kind of been, shystered a little bit by folks surrendering their dogs who, haven't been completely honest about their temperament and behavior and even bite history. Which is an issue for us because all of the dogs here at Woody's Place, there's no cages. There's no bedrooms. This is a communal environment, and this is my home. It's a large home, and they have a lot of space. We also have acreage outside, so there's lots of room to roam here. But I'm not a huge fan of taking owner surrender, but we will from time to time. Other ways the dogs find their way to us is through word of mouth, social media, and our affiliations with rescues nationwide. So we do take nationwide. We always try to act local. Well, think global, act local. That's what we do pretty much. But we have taken dogs as far as California and Florida. Florida being Miss Brandy, who was just the absolute best. So do you operate as a solo entity or do you have volunteers? Well, that ebbs and flows. We have volunteers and then not so much. So it depends on what's going on. I can tell you right now, a pandemic certainly doesn't help. Like everybody just kind of went away during the pandemic. So we're still struggling right now, Mr. Woody's Place and I, to find volunteers, but I haven't exactly been advertising either. Sometimes I personally get a little tired of training new volunteers and then they don't really stick around. And then, it's like starting all over again. And sometimes I'd just rather do things myself. I've heard this through other people that I interviewed, and then others that I interviewed have a fantastic volunteer network that they rely on pretty much for fundraising and whatnot, but then they also have staff too. We are not to that point. We do not have staff. I'm looking to elevate Woody's Place Senior German Shepherd Sanctuary. I would like to have a larger facility for Woody's Place, specifically for Woody's Place, but that involves finding new land. Our property here is not big enough. We would sell this property here and then, relocate Mr. Woody's Place and I to the new land so that we could have the facility and we could live right there and, be the caretakers. But I personally am looking for a little bit of a division at this point between Woody's Place and my own personal space. And so we can help more homeless German Shepherds in need. Like right now, we can only help so many because we're inside my house. And I don't want to be a hoarder. So there's that. And then when we do have our facility, then it would be easier to hire a staff member or two because they would be going to the facility and not coming directly into my home. So right now, volunteers, I have one or two that help out behind the scenes on social media and with marketing and whatnot, but hands-on with the dogs, no. Actually, right now I don't, and I'm not really advertising for that right now. But for years, we had great group of volunteers and just a wonderful group of volunteers. But then, like I said, the pandemic came and that kind of just nixed that. So it ebbs and flows. That is what I have found over the years with running a sanctuary is that volunteerism ebbs and flows. So that's that. All right. What does a typical day look like for me? Well, I don't have a lot of time to spend on my hair. Like, I don't really have a lot of time to pick out my clothes. My day starts before my alarm goes off because I typically have a dog in my face wanting to go outside. It's typically Savvy at this point. But there's always some dog that's in my face before my alarm even goes off, like, hey, time to get up. Let's get the day going. So, my day starts early and I get all the dogs out to the dog yard. We have a dog yard right outside my one back door here. So the whole property is fenced in. And then our farm animals are fenced in another part. And then we have a dog yard that's fenced in right outside this room here that I'm in. So when I'm not, dressed or anything like that just yet, I open the dog door. I let the dogs out in the dog yard. They are safe. They are in a pretty large fenced-in area with a 4-foot chain link fence inside an area that's fenced in by another fence. So they're safe. They're not getting out. They could just do their thing, go to the bathroom, sniff around, eat grass, whatever it is that they like to do. While they're doing that, I typically start feeding cats, cleaning litter boxes, whatnot. Then when I'm done that, I go out with the dogs and I take them for a walk around the property, around the acreage that we have here. Kind of just meander. Some of them like to play in the creek if the weather's nice enough. Some of them like to sniff. Some of them like to harass the chickens that we have here. And then they all love walking on the trails in the woods. Then we come across the bridge from the creek back to the sanctuary here. And then they relax while I get myself together, which is like lickety split. I mean, it's literally brush teeth, wash face, run a brush through my hair, put clothes on, and then I start making breakfast for the residents. After breakfast, again, they have to just relax, particularly because I don't want anybody bloating. So they have to relax before they eat. They have to relax after they eat for a little bit, about 30 minutes or so. And that's, when I sit down and I have my coffee and start eating my breakfast, maybe look at some emails and whatnot. After that, my day looks a little different than some of the other folks who have staff and they're a larger organization where they're going to work at the sanctuary. Like that's what they're doing. I actually run the Shepherd Shop here as well, and the Life with Old Dogs blog and podcast. And there's a lot to do for that as well. So I'm typically in the office at that point, filling orders, working on listings, working on guests for the podcast, things, advertising, things of that nature. And my office is also right here in the house. So I'm with the dogs. The dogs are with me, all the time. They come in my office with me. Some of them like to hang out here in the back room. The Florida room is where I'm at now. And there's big Barker beds here. They like to hang out here. In one of the bedrooms, we have this ridiculously large master bedroom. Before we bought this house, I don't even know what it was, but it's like 22 by 22. It's huge. And some of the dogs like to hang in there. The front of the house, it's a long house. It's like 80 feet long, but all of the windows in the front of the house are humongous, either bay windows or picture windows. And the dogs like to lay on the floor in front of those windows on a sunny day, just like the cats. So you'll find some of them there. And then some are in the office with me. So from there, I'm just in my office pretty much most of the time. And then I'm out with the dogs. I take frequent breaks to take the dogs outside because a lot of the time we are walking. We are out exercising. The dogs are sniffing. Again, they're interacting with the farm animals that I have here. They're getting mental stimulation. I do not just let them lay for long periods of time. It's pretty much every hour and a half. No more than 2 hours. We're up and we're out and we're moving around, weather pending. But we even go out in the rain because it rains a lot here. We'll go out in the snow, provided that it's not like 3 foot of heavy wet snow that, the Mr. Woody's place has to get out there and, make trails for us in the snow. So that's pretty much what a day looks like. After that, we repeat. It's dinner. It's time to make dinner for myself and the residents because I cook for them. And then we start to settle down for the evening. I exercise at that point. The dogs will come in that room with me as I'm exercising. I'll, listen to some of my podcasts or whatever that I like, or an audiobook or something like that. There's also grooming that happens here. So not every day is the same. Typically once a week for some of the residents, they get a bath, they get groomed because they have skin issues. That's Brutus right now and used to be Atticus. And the others get bathed like every 2 to 3 weeks. Nails trimmed, all that stuff. I even brush their teeth. So I bounce back and forth between the residents, the Shepherd Shop, Life with Old Dogs, and then just my regular life here, which, it's kind of homesteady, if you will. I'm not really into that term, but, that's kind of what I've been doing before it really became like a name or a trend or whatever. So I have my farm animals that I have to take care of as well. And, like I said, some days are like the same, other days are different. And some things come up, that require immediate attention, and everything else just gets put on the back burner. What do I love about running a sanctuary? It's the life I chose for myself. And I feel like I'm living a dream. I always knew I'm a helper by nature. And I'm also that type of person who doesn't walk away when things get hard. I'm like right there, trying to solve it, trying to make things, better for myself and for others around me, primarily for others around me. And I have a very strong connection with German Shepherds, particularly older German Shepherds. I've always had German Shepherds in my life. But the two that really resonated with me, that I had the strongest connection with, were older German Shepherds. And Woody being, the one who actually changed the trajectory of my life, because before Woody's place, I had gone to college to be a substance abuse counselor, which I was for a little while. But while I put myself through college, I had always cleaned houses. And being a substance abuse counselor didn't make a whole lot of money. And I had a family already. I was already married with kids, so I wasn't like a traditional college student. So I decided I was going to go back to cleaning houses. And I made that a 23-year career, where I had a residential commercial cleaning service that was just phenomenal. But I didn't feel like I was fulfilling my purpose here in life. Like, I knew I had a purpose, I just didn't know what it was. And then Woody came along, and for some reason, just the fact that, like, he was an older dog that, with the group that I was with then, like, nobody was really willing to step up to help this older dog. And I even heard murmurs that, oh, well, we only have so much space, and we have to save that for a younger German Shepherd who's, more adoptable, and, he's lived his life and all this other stuff. And I was just like, that is just bullshit. Like, I didn't like that at all. And it really hit home for me. I was thinking to myself, but we're all going to get old someday. And what if everybody had that kind of attitude? Where would we be as a society? I just didn't like it. And I kept thinking, well, I hope someone helps this dog. I hope someone helps this dog. And then a light bulb went off in my head. I'm like, you idiot, you're someone. Do something. Why are you like hoping somebody else will? So that was it. I was the last person who could afford to take another dog, because I was out like 7 days a week working, had kids, involved in sports, 5 kids. It was a lot. And I had already had 2 dogs, and I was like, well, I'm doing this. And that just changed my life. I realized 2 things. There was this whole senior dog population that a lot of people seem to feel the same way. Oh, they live their life, we got to help the younger dogs instead. And I just didn't like that, because these dogs still have quality of life, and they need love, and they need a home too, and they're deserving of it. And I was obviously capable of doing a lot more than what I thought I was. And there's an expression, I don't know if you've ever heard it. It's if you want something done, give it to someone who's busy. And it's true. I mean, I'm a busy person. And sometimes I get a little irritated when one more responsibility gets put on me, but I get it done. So, you have to have that kind of mentality if you're going to run a sanctuary or a rescue. You're going to wear many hats, and sometimes 2, 3 at the same time. And you can't get upset about it. If you find yourself getting upset about it, maybe it's not for you. You have to be able to adapt and change. And you have to remember that you are someone. And you have to remember that if you start this rescue, you're the one that's going to be pretty much running the rescue, unless you hire somebody to do it. But you cannot blame other people if you're having a bad day or something along those lines. You have to remember why you got into it. And I will say this, it has to be something that pulls you in. You can't push yourself to do it. If you find yourself pushing yourself to do it, again, it's not for you. Okay. You have to get up. It has to be like ingrained. It has to be in your, like who you are. It really does. And it's who I am. So this is my calling. I certainly don't make the money like I used to when I had my residential commercial cleaning service. And I certainly do have bad days, but I wouldn't change it for the world, because every resident we have here, every resident we've had in the past, and every resident we have in the future is worth it to me. So what do I struggle with? Sometimes it's overwhelming. Sometimes it's really overwhelming wearing all those hats and being able to change them immediately. And sometimes I just I don't want to do this anymore. I have a few good friends and, that I went to school with, and I'm still really good friends with them till this day. And I don't know how many times I've said, I can't do this anymore. And I do it because I can't walk away, because it's who I am. It would be like leaving my right arm somewhere and just saying, see ya, I don't need you anymore. I can't walk away. But the struggle sometimes is hard. I worry a lot about finances, because we're reliant on donations, and because we're a 501c3 organization, and that ebbs and flows just like volunteers. So I'm constantly worried about that. I really wish I had help in that area, but right now I don't. So if you're somebody who wants to help fundraise for Woody's Place, let me know, because I certainly could use a fundraising coordinator. That is, all joking aside, when volunteerism is low, that's another thing that kind of stresses me out, because then I'm doing more than one person's job. I'm doing a lot. And again, I just have to remember why I started it, and that it is something I want to do. So that's something I struggle with. And lastly, and it's probably the biggest thing I struggle with, it's really hard when a resident passes away. It's just really hard. I've seen every single one pass away except for one, and he was in foster care, so I wasn't with him. His foster mom was. But I live with these older German Shepherds. Again, they're here. They're in my home. How can I not get physically and emotionally involved with them? I know them inside and out. And I am their primary caretaker. So in a sense, it's like they become my own dog. So how could I not be upset when they pass away? Even the ones that I don't form a super close bond with, because that's another misconception, that you form a close bond with every single one. And that's not true. There are some that really don't want to form a close bond. Prince was kind of like that. Others have just really annoying habits from wherever it was that they came from. Maybe they weren't trained properly. Maybe they have some behavioral problems and whatnot. And, I'm affectionate with all of the dogs. I'm close with all of the dogs, but there are some that I form a closer bond with. So even the ones that, I don't have the closest bond with, I'm still upset when they pass away. But I also know that, between like ugly crying, it's like, okay, we pulled them from situations that they were most likely going to perish in. And we gave them the best life I'm willing to bet they probably ever had. Like, I seriously doubt they had home cooked food wherever they were. Top notch, quality medical care, high quality supplements, walks like every hour and a half to 2 hours, car rides through the beautiful countryside here where we live, to be able to lay on furniture if they want, big Barker dog beds wherever they feel like laying. I mean, they have such a stress-free life here. They have nothing to worry about, and all they have to do is focus on just being a dog. That's it. So I remember that, through the hard times, but sometimes it's just like, I still am just really sad that they're gone. How do I handle the stress from running a sanctuary? Sometimes I don't. Sometimes it's just like, wow, I'm just a shit show. Sorry for the language, but it's true. Um, because I'm a real person. I'm not that picture perfect person like on Instagram or Facebook. I am very real. And again, some days are good and some days are not good. Um, Many of you know my journey with Lyme disease. I mean, I've tested positive for Lyme for the last 3 years now. I've seen an infectious disease doctor. Sometimes it goes into remission. Other times it's out again. I get headaches. I have a headache today. I get headaches. My hands hurt. I get brain fog. I just don't feel well, and I still get up and do everything that I do. Which is more than most for the residents here at the sanctuary, whether it's the cats or the dogs or even my farm animals outside. I mean, I drag myself out no matter what. So it's hard. It's definitely hard. I have a great group of friends. I have very supportive family who pitch in and help out. I have people that I'm friends with through Woody's Place, volunteers when they're available. What I do is I'll talk with people. That's number one. Number two, I exercise. I try to exercise as often as possible. It may not be every day, but it is definitely 3 to 4 times a week, whether it's riding my bike, whether it's running. If I was near a pool, I'd go swimming because that's one of my favorite things. Pilates, I do, Pilates as well. Some strength training. I try to eat well. Some days are just, some days when I'm not having a great day, everything's in the crapper. I'm eating like peanut M&Ms and drinking coffee all day and things that I shouldn't be doing. But for the most, I try to maintain a healthy whole food diet. Just like I provide here for the residents of Woody's Place. One of my favorite things to do in the nicer weather is to kayak. We are in the lake region of the Poconos. There's no shortages of lakes here. I mean, I have like monstrous lakes all around me. Like Lake Wallenpaupack is right. It's like 4 miles up the road, and that's 52 miles of shoreline. So, there's no shortages of lakes here. So I love to kayak, and I love to just drive around. I'm also privileged to live right near the Delaware State Forest and the Pinchot State Forest. And there's no shortage of beautiful scenery here. And we still have dirt roads here. Most are paved, but we still have dirt roads as well. And I'm a big fan of the dirt roads. It's what I loved as a kid. And I just love dirt roads and put the residents in my car and we just go for a ride and look at, trees and lakes and deer and bear and, all kinds of stuff. It's a total de-stressor, nature is. And if you're privileged enough to live near some, like a park or something like that, you get out and enjoy it. Even if you're in a city or, like a concrete jungle, if you will, there's nature there too. Look at the birds, watch the squirrels, take a walk down the street and see what nature you could see, maybe plants in the ground that somebody planted or different types of trees that might be growing there too. Look up at the sky. The sky's beautiful as well. Check out the clouds, like you did when you were a little kid. You laid on your back and you looked up at the sky at the clouds. I mean, it sounds silly, but it is really a great way to relax. I also listen to a lot of audiobooks and a lot of music. I'm a lifelong learner. I'm back at Penn State again after a few, decades. And that's a de-stressor for me. It's just a personal goal, I guess, is just to continue taking classes and classes that I enjoy and expanding my brain. So that's a way for me to distress as well. And I love to cook. I'm a big cook. Like my waistline's proof of that. I love to cook. So that's a great way to de-stress as well. So what would I say to someone if they wanted to know what it was really like to start a sanctuary or to run a sanctuary? It's a commitment. It is a full-time commitment. It is 24/7. You're going to have to give things up, maybe vacations every year, Maybe every time your friends want to go out, you're not going to be able to because dog's, not doing well or something along those lines. It's a juggling act. You have to learn how to, like I said, juggle a lot of responsibility. And there's just constant need for fundraising and, monetary support. So, you're always going to have to be looking for that. Again, the feeding, the caring of the animals is paramount, and you can't get into a situation where you're just having a string of bad days and you just can't do it. They don't care. And you committed to them. So you're going to have to pull yourself up by your bootstraps and do it, whether you feel good or not. And if you can't, you're going to have to enlist help, because their well-being should not, be diminished because you just aren't up to it. You have to deal with emergencies, dogs bloating at, I said it before, 2 a.m. on a Sunday morning, and the closest ER vet's, 40 minutes away, and they got a 10-hour wait. True story. You're just going to have to, you're going to have to deal with it. And again, if you can't, maybe it's not for you, or you incorporate help that you can rely on. You're going to have to find volunteers and manage a team of volunteers. Maybe you're fortunate enough to have enough money come in, and you're going to be able to hire a staff member or two, and then you're going to have to manage them as well. Then there's all the behind the scenes stuff, the administrative stuff, the taxes, the licensing, the insurance, registering with this organization, registering with that state website. You're going to have to remember to do all that. So there's a lot of administrative stuff that you have to keep up on as well. And then, like I was saying, the emotional aspect of it. So, again, the two things that bother me the most emotionally are the dogs that we don't have the room or the finances to help. And then I know they end up getting euthanized, or the ones that we have and we've cared for, and then they end up passing away. So there's that aspect too. And that's a big one. Or if you're going to be a rescue that adopts out, then, the ones that get adopted out. It's a beautiful thing. It's a wonderful thing, but it's bittersweet. You're sad because, maybe you connected with them and now they're gone, but you're happy for them because now they got a home and you have a new space for a new dog to help. So, but that is emotional. There is emotion involved there. And some people are a little more emotional about it than others, some not at all. So, so you have to be able to wear all of those hats. You have to know that it's 24/7. You have to know that you are going to be making sacrifices, sometimes very big sacrifices, but you also have to know that it's extremely rewarding. It's extremely rewarding. And also, if you're the type of person who likes to do your hair and put on makeup and wear snazzy clothes, not for you. Not for you. Because you're just going to be getting dressed like that because you got stuff to get to. And finally, would you do it again knowing what you know now? 100%. Just like everybody I talked to this season, I would 100% do it again. I didn't even really know what I was doing when I started. I just knew that this is what I was going to do because finally something felt right in my life. I finally had like a vision of, it's just so strange. I can't even really explain it. It was almost like I was like a co-pilot in my life and something else was steering me toward Woody's place. And once I finally got there, whatever that was turned around and said, this is where you get off. And I was like, oh, I'm finally home. This is exactly what I'm supposed to. This is it. Here it is. This is what my life was meant to be. So I really almost feel like I just don't have a choice because this is truly who I am. Life with Old Dogs, Woody's place, even the rescue cats and my farm animals outside. That is truly who I am. And I have a coach that I talk with all the time. And I said that to my coach, like I couldn't even pretend to be somebody else. So, yes, I would 100% do it again, knowing what I know now. In fact, I just can't wait to start moving forward with our plans for elevating Woody's place. We're still trying to decide on a location. It's not totally out of the question about staying in Pennsylvania, but I really have aspirations to move out further out west and kind of get away from the tick population, the tick problem that is really, it's really just out of control here. We're always in a red zone. More people that I know than not, have Lyme disease. Last time we were at the vet, she said 1 in every 4 dogs is coming in with anaplasmosis and Lyme. 1 in every 4. And these are treated. These dogs are treated with some sort of flea and tick preventative, whether it be, a natural a solution or not. And we are that inundated that regardless, I mean, we're still getting attacked by these insects, and then they're spreading their disease into our bodies. And I am convinced that's why Nona and Atticus passed away, because they both had anaplasmosis and Lyme. Atticus was already not doing so well, and I think that did him in. And Nona, I had no idea. She was not well until she was not well. And she was being treated for anaplasmosis and Lyme, and then her liver failed. So, and then I just got done treating Brutus and Savvy for anaplasmosis and Lyme, who were totally asymptomatic. And I had taken them up to the vet in September for their routine blood work that I get annually. And I said, test them. I want to know. So now we're getting tested every 6 months. But I think I would like to get out of, as much as I like it here, I think I want to get away from this situation, because I just don't think it's going to get any better as our climate continues to warm up and we continue to get more rain here. So anyway, that was a little tangent there. I'm looking forward to elevating Woody's place. I'm hoping at some point to be able to bring in a staff member to help care for the dogs, or volunteers. And also, we're looking to start a program where we incorporate some sort of wellness program for veterans here at Woody's place, where they come and interact with the dogs, and we have programs for them as well. My son is a veteran, and he is all about that. So we have to figure out, what it is that we're going to do and where we're going to do it and how we're going to tie it all in together. But I'm not really too sure it's going to be here in Pennsylvania. So, all right, that is enough. Time is up. I hope you found this season helpful. Next season, we're going to be taking a little bit of a break here till we, get next season all situated. But season 9 is going to be about allergies and inflammation in older German Shepherds. Okay, so we're going to focus on the causes and what you can do to help your senior German Shepherd, as I listen to Brutus itch right now. All right. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you for tuning in. If you like this episode, please subscribe, like, share. The more we get our message out there, the better it will be. So until next time, folks, be well.